All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Louis Centeno Show, live here in Tampa, Florida. I know it's been a while. Excuse everyone that I apologize for. Uh, I was supposed to be on last week, and had a my guest was a hardcore Marvel fan that we was going to debate the Martha Bucky scene, but something came up. He couldn't make it. It was a little discouraging, but it doesn't surprise me because that's typically Marvel fan. They're when you put them to the fire, you know they don't want to go to the fire. So they're just typical Marvel fan. That when you invite them to have a intelligent discussion, they talk a lot, but when it comes to actually performing, like most of the movies, they come a bit short. But we have a lot to talk about today. Today's Saturday, uh, October 12th. For all those baseball fans, today is Game One of the American League Championship between the New York Yankees and the Houston Astros. Go Astros! That Enter Sandman is a bit reminder to the Yankee fan out there that thinks they're gonna win the World Series. I just want to point this out. Since 2001, 18 years, you have won one Uno championship. One, one championship, and you ain't winning it this year because you're not gonna beat the Astros. You're not going to beat the Astros. No, 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 no. You're not going to beat the Astros. So you don't have Mariano Rivera as your closer. Now, you do have Chapman, but Chapman does have a history giving up big hits. So Today is game one of the American League Championship between the Houston Astros and the New York Yankees. Yesterday, the St. Louis Cardinals lost to the Washington National 2-0. Game two is later on today, I believe at 3 p.m. So we're gonna have Eric Blake on later on today. We're gonna discuss the Snyder Cut, Marvel. We're definitely gonna have a lot to talk about. But let me start off because a lot has happened in a couple of weeks since my last show. And who is my team again? Yeah, unfortunately, my team is the New York Mets. Yes, yes, the New York Mets. Since 1986, we have now won a World Series. And thank you, Tony, for bringing that up because my team, all my New York teams, the New York Jets are 0-4. The New York Knicks, we're not going to discuss that. The New York Mets. Can I just have one of my team win a championship? Just one. I mean, every single time I get into a season, one of my teams break my heart. The New York Mets. They had the talent to at least make the playoff. And what does Mickey Callaway do? I mean, the Mets overcame a lot. A lot. Except for my manager. I mean, there was one move that drove me crazy. One move. One win. I'm about to go to a rant here. Because Tony, a Yankee fan, he just put on the chat, go Yankees, and I hate the Yankees. But this is what my life is as a Met fan. Mickey Callaway, Steven Matz, against the Atlanta Braves, 79 pitches, retired 14 batters, gave up one hit, retired 14, 6 innings, struck out 9. And what does the greatest manager of all time do? He takes them out. I mean, that is some of the moves that man has done. So he's gone. Thank God he's gone. And then my New York Jets, 0-4, up 16-0 against the Buffalo Bills. Yes, the Buffalo Bills who went to the Super Bowl 4 times and choked. Against the Buffalo Bills, up 16-0. And what does my head coach do? He does not address the elephant in the room. What's the kicking team? The kicking team. The kicker. 2 field goals missed, an extra point missed, and we lose by 1. And then my luck, my quarterback goes down with some disease I never heard of, or some illness. And then the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, who all season hyped up the moves that they was going to make to sign 2 major free agents. And what do? They bring in Julius Randle. That's all I got to say. So thank you, Tony, for getting my high blood pressure high. I mean, I was relaxed. Okay? And I hope the Yankees lose. I mean, I hope they lose 4 in a row. And all 4 games they lose by home run in the 9th inning. I mean, I want you to suffer. I want you Yankee fans to suffer with me. Now going back to some uplifting news. The Snyder Cut. I've heard, and again, I've said this since last year. Now, the information that I heard last year is obviously is different, but last year I heard that the Snyder Cut was going to be released in November 1st. Obviously, the whole year, a lot has happened in the whole year, but there's a lot of things going down behind the scenes. And you see Zack Snyder, I mean, that was a great gesture what he did. He acknowledged the fans. He acknowledged what the New York Comic-Con did. All the pictures he liked where it says it's done. and he thanked the fans. So um, there's a lot of rumblings, a lot of rumors going behind the scene. It is a possibility that it could be announced. Now, there are different scenarios Warner Brothers could go with this. Obviously, the ultimate. I mean, we all want to see the cut. We definitely want to see the cut. The best scenario, the best case scenario for us is to see it this year. So, but I don't know that there's a lot of planning uh, that goes into this. Those who watch my videos knows that I've tweeted about the Zack Snyder theatrical cut, the 170-minute cut. And just to recap, um, back in 2017 of October, he liked a post basically saying that 170 cut, the 170-minute was the movie that was going to be released in theaters. Zack Snyder liked it. Jeff Johns and somebody else came online, disputed that, and basically, we know that Warner Brothers don't comment on every rumor out there, especially if it's not true. Now, for them to comment on that, a lot of people say they were joking, but they were not joking. I'm sorry, they were not joking. Zach was not joking. Um, I believe that Deborah Snyder knew that they messed with Zach movie, and that's why Zach purposely liked that post, asking him, can he confirm whether his cut was 170. He liked it because there's no way that his wife didn't tell him what Warner Brothers, Jeff Johns, those snakes up there did to his cut. You cannot edit score from what I understand. Speaking with other people in 1 month. So something happened between May to October. Those are the time frame. Obviously, we know about the reshoots and all that stuff. So um, could that be the cut that Warner Brothers could release in HBO Max? It's possible. Uh, I know I mean, we all know Zack Snyder told everybody the 214 minutes, 214 minutes. Now, this is the smart way, the smart business way. If I was Warner Brothers, uh, if I was Warner Brothers, this is what I would do if I was them. I would negotiate with Zach. I would say, hey, Zach, we have two cuts. Both are yours. We have the theatrical version. They could either release it in theaters for a limited time, the way Zach intended to be released in theater. You could have it about a month. Then promote the 214 on HBO Max. Obvious that would get to me that would get a lot of attention. You released a 170-minute cut that Zack Snyder intended to release in theaters. You could release Warner Brother could release that as a limited. Sometimes we know what they do. I believe earlier this year, last year, didn't I release The Dark Knight in the theaters for about a couple of days? So maybe they could do something like that with Zack Snyder 170-minute cut. They could release that in theaters, maybe do it for two to 3 weeks or even a month. Do it that way, and then promote the 214-minute cut on HBO Max. Or they could release the 170-minute cut to HBO Max, and then release the 214 DVD. Guys, regardless of how Warner Brothers does it, the 170 or the 170-minute or not 170-minute, we're getting the 214-minute cut. I promise you, we're gonna get that. So don't worry about that, because there's no way that Zach is going to agree that Warner Brothers released the 170-minute cut, theatrical cut, without agreeing to release the 214-minute cut. No way. Now, if the 214-minute cut is released, by all means, I mean, I don't care. We want to see the 214-minute cut. Do we want to see 170? Okay. Ultimately, we want to see the 214-minute cut. That's what we want to see. Okay, we're gonna get the 214-minute cut, guys. So here's the clue. Here's the key that you gotta look for. If Warner Brothers agrees to release the 170-minute cut, that tells us that the 214 minutes coming. So don't get upset, especially if Zack Snyder backs that up. If he backs up the 170-minute cut, says, hey guys, this is my 170-minute cut. This is what I intended to release in the theaters. That's going to be okay. Okay. And I will only get behind the 170-minute cut that Zack intended to release in theaters if Zack backs it up. If Zack don't back it up, I don't want it. Don't give me that. Okay, so don't get now. If Warner Brothers forget about the 170-minute cut and just release a 214-minute cut, even better for us. Okay, we're gonna get the 214-minute cut. Okay, so don't get discouraged. We're gonna get the 214-minute cut. Another thing that I want to address, I believe it was last week, and we're gonna have Eric on within 5 minutes. I've heard rumblings in the background that Warner Brothers were screening Zach's cut. I don't know if it's the 170-minute cut or the 214-minute cut. I don't know, guy. I don't know. What I heard is that they were screening Zach's cut to a select few. Now, Paul shot down that rumor. He says not true. Now, I didn't say that Paul was one of the people who watched that. So I'm not sure whether Paul said it because he thought I was referring to him or not. Okay, take this with a grain of salt. I don't know if it's 100% true. He did shut that down, but after he shut it down, I heard again from my source that Warner Brothers did show Zach's cut to a select few. Now, the select few could be the executive. The select few could be those people who's making the decision: should we release this one? Should we release this one? Or should we release it? Period. It's quite possible. Okay, so when I say screening, I was not referring. It's not a normal screening that like Wonder Woman. I believe they just had a screening. It's not that type of screening. It's a screening. I want to say more like a feeling. Hey, tell me what do you think about this cut? What about this cut? Is it worth releasing? If we do release it, where would be more profitable? That's what I heard. That's what I heard. And when he shot it down, my source was adamant. No, that Warner Brothers did show to a select few Zach's cut. Now I don't know what cut it was. If it was the 170-minute cut, the 214-minute cut, I personally would think that it's a 214-minute cut that they show, because if the 170-minute cut is almost done, like Mark Hughes says, there's no need to show that one, because you could, that's more of a like an intro, the way how normal business is done in the theaters, and the way Batman versus Superman was originally done. They released I think it was 2 hours and 30 minute cut in the theaters, and then we got the Ultimate Edition, which by far was the better version. So that's what I saw. Now we're also going to take your questions later on, but going back, that's what I heard. Now, another thing about Henry Cavill, guys, he is fighting. He wants to be Superman. He wants to make another Superman movie. So if you could spread the word, I already reached out to a couple. Already reached out to a person. If they could do a campaign for Warner Brothers to keep Henry Cavill as Superman, he needs our help. He's fighting for us. He just wants to do another Superman. We are now, even way before, because those, I have a lot of detractors that like saying Lewis never got anything right. He's always wrong. Never got one thing right. Okay, so when I get something right, oh, we knew that. We knew that already. It was talked about when it wasn't really talked about. And then when I say something that nobody talked about, well, nobody's saying that. Like, for example, early on this year, I said, and nobody tweeted this out. Nobody reported it. I said, there's a strong possibility that Zach could come back. Oh my God, the amount of hate that I got. This guy is making this up thing again. No way Zach is going to come back. Where did he hear that from? That's not going to happen. Zach will never come back. Never come back, even though he never left, if you know what I mean. He's always been with us. But that's what I tweeted that back in March, that Zach could come back. Dingus Bringers did a video on that, and I got a lot of hate from a lot of people. That's not going to happen. Oh, that rumor's not true. Well. 4 months later, Mr. Mark Hughes tweeted, that Zach could come back. I wonder who said that. And then when I mentioned, when I said, hey, didn't somebody tweeted that back in March? You know what they said? Well, we all knew that. We all knew that. If you know what I know, is the quote. If you only knew what we knew, or what we know. Ha! If I could tell you what you really know. Anyway, I'm not going to get there. And then we have other people that says, "Oh, that's just a wild guess." Anyway, and listen, I'm not saying that he's coming back. I'm not once. Am I saying that? Um, so it's nice to see Zach acknowledging the fans. It's basically telling us to keep on fighting. But any event, I want us to help Henry Cavill um, get his spot uh, where it belongs. He wants to do another Superman movie. He definitely wants to do another Superman movie. So um, we need to help him. We need to help him. So that being said, guys, joining me right now is Mr. Eric Blake, uh, who's with us right now. We're going to be discussing a lot. A lot. Hey, Eric, how you doing, brother?
Doing good. Let us speak of many things, of cabbages and kings, the Snyder Cut, and Marvel, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. It's starting to get a little chilly here in Florida, at least for us. Did you wake up a little? I mean, it's like no, I'm gonna little rub it in for those out there. 65, 70 degrees for us for Floridians. A little chilly out there. Is it getting? Do you feel the weather getting the temperature coming down a little bit?
Well, this is nothing to me. I grew up in Pennsylvania. This is nothing. Yeah. And, I don't know. It's like it's pretty because in Pennsylvania, it's like chilly to the bone right about now. At least it should be.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, it's one of the it's like one of the things I miss. I like the sight of snow. Now I don't like shoveling it, but I like the sight of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from New York, so this is nothing for me. Now, my kids, when I moved here in Florida, they were about 5 or 4, and then the youngest one was about 2 or 3. So they were basically born and raised in Florida, and oh my gosh, when it gets 50, to me it's heaven, but to them they'd be like, what? Yeah. But do you like sports?
Bits and pieces. For me, when it comes to football, I have two teams. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Los Angeles Rams now, which is because the Los Angeles Rams were my dad's team way back in the 70s, and the greatest football team in the history of civilization were the Pittsburgh Steelers of the late 70s. So there you go.
You think so?
And lo and behold, yeah, the longest Super Bowl dynasty in history, although the Patriots have just tied that dynasty length. And this year, if the Patriots get another Super Bowl win, then they'll be the greatest football team in history, the longest Super Bowl dynasty ever. But as of now, they just matched the record of the Steelers. So I don't know. I'm still with the Steelers, and I'm still with the Rams. Let's see how they do. And I'm just so glad that the Rams moved back to LA, because that was their glory years. When they were in St. Louis, their only glory years were when Kurt Warner was the quarterback. But now Kurt Warner's long gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Marshall Faulk. And then now that they're gone, they kind of have to go back to the good luck of being the LA team, the glory days. So now they're good, and I love that they went back to their old colors, the colors of the 70s in Los Angeles, because I saw that last Super Bowl, and I got excited, and I texted Dad, "Hey, Dad, aren't these their colors of the 70s?" He texted back, "Yep." So that's good. Any good luck you can get.
See, going back to the Steelers, you see, I put the 49ers up there because they won four with Joe Montana, was it 4 with Montana or 3 with Montana? No, it was 4 with Montana, right? And they won. They won one with Steve Young. So how many Super Bowls the Pittsburgh have won? 5 or 6?
It was 1975 to 1980.
So they won
They were
four in
like
a row.
yeah.
They won 4 Super Bowls in a row.
Five, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. So there you go. There's 6 right there, I think. Or 5 or 6.
No, I'm almost positive they only won 4 Super Bowls. Only four straight Super Bowls in the 70s team.
Straight.
Now I think Big Ben has won 2, so it gives him 6. So it gives him 6. So and you're not into baseball? No baseball, no Phillies.
Yeah. Well, the only
Pirates?
I don't follow baseball that much, but I guess you could say I'm a Red Sox fan, but mainly because I love the show Cheers and Sam Malone, Red Sox, and all that. And honestly,
we got a Red Sox fan here, a Bostonian.
Yeah. Well, look. I'll say this: as a Red Sox fan, I know exactly what you're going through with the whole Yankees thing. Like, screw the Yankees, seriously.
Yeah, I hope they lose, man. I mean, I hope they lose. They lose, but let's go back.
This.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll say this: as a Red Sox fan, it was for the longest time, it was a running gag that we were going good, but we don't get the pennant because the Yankees beat us, and the Yankees go on to the World Series, and we're like, oh well, there's next year. Next year, same thing. Next year, same thing. And then finally, we break through, and we win the World Series, which is awesome. So don't hold back hope. It'll happen for you guys.
Which one of these, as a Red Sox fans, loss hurt most? Number 1, Bucky Dent, 1975, I think, or 76. Bucky Dent, the 2003 championship against the Yankees when Aaron Boone hit that home run, or the 1986 World Series where Bill Buckner let the ball go under his leg. Which loss is more devastating to you?
Yes. Anyone, honestly. But it's but again, the main reason I'm a Red Sox fan is because I love the show Cheers so much, and because I'm connecting with them so much. So there you go. So as far as baseball itself, I don't follow it as much. I used to back in the 90s. I was following with basketball. I was following the Chicago Bulls because Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and his crew, his whole crew, Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, their crew, it was the greats. But yeah. I don't follow that much. I mainly follow, if I follow sports at all, I follow football and I follow NASCAR. But I haven't really followed NASCAR that much after Jeff Gordon retired.
Oh, you're a big Jeff Gordon fan, so that means you didn't like Senior, right? Number 3, right?
Maybe. I mean, I like Gordon. I like Gordon. I like Jimmy Johnson. I loved when when Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. were a team, and that was epic. That was awesome. But then Jeff Gordon stepped down, so retired. So oh well.
Okay, so let's get into number 1. What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about Henry Cavill, or you want to talk about the Snyder Cut?
Well, honestly, I would like to talk about Henry Cavill because that would lead into something I've been talking about for a while, and people have saying, maybe is the Henry Cavill, because here's the thing, in my expert analytical opinion, the best chance we have of getting a Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Lawrence Fishburne in the works is J.J. Abrams. And that's for a variety of reasons. Number 1, J.J. Abrams, whenever he's handed a franchise that has been struggling, he doesn't reboot. Now, you could point out, but Eric, what about Star Trek? Well, even with Star Trek, A, he established that was a separate universe, a new timeline, and B, he brought in Leonard Nimoy to pass the torch. Okay, and with that, but even that aside, any other instance, whether it's Mission Impossible or Star Wars, he keeps the pre-established cast whenever possible. But either way, he does not hard reboot. He, with Mission Impossible 3, he kept Tom Cruise and he kept Big Rames, and he arguably helped set Tom Cruise back on his renaissance. He could have rebooted, but he didn't. He kept Tom Cruise and he kept Big Rames from the original film. And for Star Wars, of course, he did, again, no reboots, but he kept Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Anthony Daniels, and Katie and R2D2. He kept the whole cast. He brought in a new generation, but it was more of a passing the torch again. So there's that. he doesn't hard reboot. He brings the franchises that have been given to him back, number one. Number two, J.J. Abrams and Zack Snyder are friends, and they've hung out together. They've supported film as opposed to digital. They when they interact with each other, like back when Zack was shooting Batman v Superman, and Zack was and JJ was shooting Force Awakens. They were kind of like ribbing each other, busting each other's balls on Twitter. They were showing like the fan art of like Henry Cavill as a Jedi and all that. It was great. That's number three, and this is key. Is who is he working with? Who did he bring on as a screenwriter for Star Wars 9?
I've never watched Star Wars, to be honest with you.
Well,
I've never.
Well,
is it? I'm assuming it has to be somebody that Zach work with, right?
Yeah. It's Chris Terrio.
Oh, the writer. Okay.
Yeah, the great Chris Terrio. He brought on Chris Terrio to write Star Wars 9. And Star Wars 9's coming out, and you got to know that if JJ did not already know the debacles of what was going on with the Snyder Cut and Justice League, Chris Terrio had to have told him in their interactions together. And JJ is obviously so impressed. He's talked about how he's so impressed with Chris Terrio's script for Star Wars 9. And that gives me a lot of hope. And number 4, bringing this all together, J.J. Abrams comes into Warner Brothers. He muscles out Kevin Tsujihara, basically taking away the last of Toby Emmerich's allies. He comes in. He apparently was instrumental in putting in Ann Sarnoff. So in other words, the real power in Warner Brothers is now J.J. Abrams, known Snyder ally who is working with Chris Terrio and who doesn't do hard reboots. So that gives me a lot of hope that I would not be surprised. Like Warner Brothers, if they have any brains at all, they've got to be on their knees begging J.J. Abrams to pick up Superman. Like the cornerstone, the template of the cornerstone of their DC franchise, aside from Batman, and Batman's taken by Matt Reeves. So I would say, for me, the perfect scenario is this: the Warner Brothers stay silent, JJ and Terrio stay silent until the publicity tour for Star Wars 9 is over. And then the moment it's over, JJ drops a bomb and Warner Brothers drop a bombshell that right after Chris Terrio wrote the final draft of Star Wars 9, he started writing Man of Steel 2 for me. And now that the publicity tour for Star Wars 9 is over, we have been given the green light for Man of Steel 2, and we're starting shooting yesterday. Henry Cavill, Superman, Amy Adams as Lois, Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White, Days Vault.
Yeah,
that's my vision.
Before the J.J. Abrams signing became official, what I heard is that J.J. Abrams does have an eye on the Superman franchise. Now, the unknown at the time, and we really don't know, is whether J.J. Abrams is going to direct Superman or whether he's going to appoint a director to direct Superman. Either way, regardless if either JJ does it or he appoints someone to direct Superman, he's overseeing the Superman franchise. I mean that for sure. Now my preference, if JJ doesn't direct Superman, is maybe JJ could get McCurry. Get him on the phone and say, hey, I know what you said, but we're on the new management. I heard what you said. I like that idea. Let's come in. Let's talk. That will be pretty cool. If JJ goes that route. So we still don't know. And the reason I'm asking everyone to the same thing that we did for the Snyder Cut, if we could do it for Henry Cavill. Henry wants to do another Superman movie. He really does. He really do. Now, I just, and, a lot of people's asking me, well, if he signed a contract to do Superman movie, well, what's the issue? Well, the issue is, number one, you need a director, and number two, you need a script. Henry could, now. Do you think we're gonna get a Man of Steel 2 before Supergirl? That's a great question. That's a great question. See, the way I would do it. This is me personally. The way I would do it is I would do a Supergirl standalone Supergirl movie, standalone, and then at the end of the movie, like a 30-second cameo with Henry Cavill be introduced as the cousin, and then do. It's not gonna be called Man of Steel 2. It's gonna be it's not gonna be it's gonna be something like something like the Superman, but it's gonna be a Henry Cavill, right? But it's gonna be a Superman movie, and then have Supergirl with him, and maybe like a villain like a Brainiac. I would love to see Brainiac in Superman. So, I mean I would love to see that, but that's the way I would do it. Because it seems like Warner Brothers, they want to introduce new characters. They want to do new standalone like the Joker. So, and that'd be ideal. Listen, as long as they announce that a Superman movie is in the works, I could care less if Supergirl comes first or second. I don't care.
Same here. Same here. But here's what I would do. As far as Supergirl is concerned. Is there an echo with me, by the way? I don't know.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, what I would do as far as Supergirl is concerned, and I told Zodwriter this when Zodwriter first had me on to his show. The first time he had me on, there were 2 episodes where he had me on. But the first time, I was saying, okay, this is what I would do with Supergirl. I would do the storyline where she starts off on Apocalypse as one of his Darkseid's Furies, and after Justice League won the Snyder Cut, like further canonizing the Snyder Cut. Where Steppenwolf is dead, and Darkseid's like, I want to check out this Kryptonian myself. So he sends Supergirl, Kara, over to check out, get the lay of the land. And she encounters Clark, and partly as a flip off to a CW, they have a fight, but Clark beats her. But he sees that she's not bad, and he takes her under his wing and shows her around with Earth. He and Lois show her around, and she realizes that she's been on the wrong side. Meanwhile, Darkseid sends some other folks over to as a follow-up invasion, if you will. And what happened? And so what happens? Supergirl goes in to fight them, and then she leaves and says, like, I'm going to continue to fight these people. And as for Clark, now that they know that Darkseid's coming, they prepare for Justice League 2, for the Darkseid invasion. That's personally what I would do. And and by the way, it would be so funny to see the Marvel folks saying, you're just copying Captain Marvel. And I'm saying, well, not maybe, or maybe we're just showing you how it's done. This is how you do that kind of story, but much better. Yeah.
It sounds great, Eric. And listen, as long as we get a great movie, I don't care. Now, a lot of Jake and Frank said there is a little bit of echo. I don't hear it, but they hear a little bit of the echo.
It's done now, I think.
Okay. That sounds like a great setup. And again, guys, I don't care if Supergirl comes first or second. I just want a Man of Steel or Superman movie with Henry Cavill. So if we could help Henry and let Warner Brothers know that Henry is our Superman, if you have an actor in Henry Cavill who loves the character, who understands the character, that wants to play Superman, and the fans wants that. I think Warner Brothers, should give it to us. Now, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. One more thing about J.J. Abrams with Superman. as you may recall, he wrote that Superman Flyby.
Flyby, yes, yes.
And he wrote two versions of it. The first version was very ballsy and very experimental. So anyone who says that, oh, JJ would just go nostalgic, no, he wouldn't.
No.
But now his second draft was much safer. But even then, like as JJ himself said, he wanted to focus on the humanity of Clark, and he was excited for Zack Snyder doing the same kind of thing. But anyway, when they were going to do Superman Flyby, they settled on Matt Bomer to be Superman, but Matt Bomer and Henry Cavill look a lot alike. It's eerie how much they could be brothers. But number two, Henry Cavill was a finalist. He was so much a finalist that he did a costume test. Number two. Number three, Matt Bomer recently dropped the bombshell that when he was on to be Superman, Amy Adams was on to be Lois. It was going to be the two of them. So JJ always had in mind Henry Cavill and Amy Adams. So this would be destiny if he were to do his Man of Steel 2.
Yeah, and that story that the Warner Brother wants to recast Superman because Superman can't be older than Batman. To me, that's a dumb reason. I mean, really? I mean, have you guys seen Robert Downey Jr.? I mean, Iron Man. I mean, he's way younger than Captain America. That is, I mean, to me, that's if Warner Brothers do recast, it has nothing to do with the age. Nothing to do with the age.
No, of course not. So honestly, where are we getting that from? We got this covered and all their ilk? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to me, that's a dumb reason. But you know what? Warner Brothers has done dumb stuff before, but that was under the old management. Now going back to he's only, like I said, he's only three or 4 years older than Robert Pattinson, and Henry takes care of himself. So to me, it doesn't mean anything. And it actually it makes Superman even more stronger because Superman compared to Batman,
Yeah.
But
he looks permanently young. Amy Adams looks permanently young. She stopped aging at 27 or something. So it's like recasting them for age would be no excuse, honestly.
Yeah. That's a hard risk. Now going back to the Snyder's cut, there's a lot of if you notice ever since Zach did his event, a lot of people, from the insider industry, from the trades, from the news media, from actors, they're not talking about it. So to me, it's like this, and I had this interaction with Jay Oliva last year when he said that if and when the Snyder Cut is announced, that Zach will make it in some big venue, like a Comic-Con and so forth. Because I was hearing that too. As a matter of fact, I reported that was supposed to come out next month. Obviously, when news things evolve, and information changes and things get delayed. But he's been championing that, and now ever since Zach did his event, a lot of people are not talking about it. So those are indications that telling us that, number one, Zach is fighting for us. Number two, that the people who had the decision making in their hands are no longer there. And now that we have Anne as a new CEO, you see a lot of more people, talking about it. More specifically with Paul Shahari, who beginning of the year said that the Warner Brothers is not going to invest in the Snyder Cut. And then after talking to Zack Snyder, things changed. Same thing with Mark Hughes. Yep. Mark Hughes said there was no way it's going to happen. And then when he got hired with Jay Oliva project, and he spoke to Jay Oliva, he changed his tune. So something is going on, Eric.
It's the calm before the storm.
Absolutely. So there's a chance that it could be announced this year. And I'm hearing something has to do with HBO Max. Yeah. I mean, and when you hear the Snyder Cut, when you talk to insiders, when you talk to even people who tweeted that out, HBO Max is getting a lot of play. The question is which version we're getting? Are we going to get the 170-minute cut, or are we going to get the 214-minute cut?
I mean, I figured there was a reason. Like for all of last year, there was that HBO Asia account that kept teasing little things, like kind of maybe sort of doing release, kind of teasing the Snyder Cut and teasing how much they hated Justice League. So it's like there's got to be some kind of connection going on, like some talks going on about HBO. And now that we have HBO Max, it looks like there's the decision right there. It seems to be settling right there.
Right, and let's go back to last year, not this year, but last year of Comic Con, and the person who had closest tie was Zack Snyder, and she's actually, to me, she's like, there's the Godfather. She's actually the godmother, Fiona. She's the one that did the release of the Snyder Cut. She's to me, unless somebody correct me if I'm wrong, she is the creator of the Snyder Cut. The queen.
She's the queen.
Yes, ma'am. Hands down. What hands down. If you go back to her post, she strongly indicated that it was going to be announced last year at Comic Con, and Zack Snyder was indeed around the venue. So something happened. Something happened, and I go back where I think the head honcho, the Snakes, Fritz, that Wall Street Journal guy, that was a hit job. That was a hit job to discredit the Snyder Cut movement, and I believe they were sent by an executive in Warner Brothers. I mean, what? I mean, I don't get it. So something happened.
Yeah, I think if anything, it was some people are blaming Emmerich and saying that Tsujihara wasn't that bad. Some people are blaming Tsujihara. I think it was just the two of them together were the obstacle, were the roadblock. And now that Tsujihara is gone, Emmerich is powerless. That's what I think. But the two of them were still around when that happened last year.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
It was Jeff Johns, number one.
Yeah, Johns two. That was the third. Yep.
But now I put Jeff Johns number one. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what, I put him number one because if you read the story, Jeff Johns went behind Ben Affleck back and changed his script. So everything's Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns, he screwed Ben Affleck. I mean, so here on one hand you have an actor who won an Academy Award when I said acting and director, and you have some schmuck that granted. He's written great comic books, but just because you're a great comic book writer doesn't make you a great writer. So you have this schmuck. This schmuck went behind Ben Affleck, changed his script. So Jeff Johns number one. Then with the backing of Tommy Emmerich, and what I believe is that these two people, Jeff Johns and Tommy Emmerich, went to Kevin and brainwashed Tommy. And Kevin probably doesn't know too much about.
Tsujihara's a bean counter. Yeah. He's a bean counter. He just wants the quick buck. Yeah. He doesn't really care about styles or anything like that. He just wants the quick buck, and he will compromise and sacrifice anything just to get the quick buck. Hence the 2-hour mandate, which is why to get maximum screenings. Quick buck. But as far as ideology is concerned, I agree. It's Emmerich and Johns and Ballcat.
Yeah. I mean, it's to me. It started with
and Berg and Nelson and of course and Elfman.
Berg. See, Berg to me was not the three. If you want to say to me, I put Kevin T a distant third. It's really Tommy Emmerich and Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns is gone. If you notice, everyone, and Zach kind of alluded in his event. He basically said everybody's gone, but he gave it a clue. Some people are there, which really is only one. So Tommy Emmerich, and I believe now with Ann coming in. I mean, if you're Ann showing off, you got to look at all the movies that Tommy touched and how horrible it did. I mean, you have to do that. So, do you
Godzilla too? Apparently.
See, but I like the Godzilla. See, that's the thing.
Yeah, so did I. I loved it too. But it's like, but what we've been hearing about the reshoots and all that, and what it could have been is like, okay. I mean, I loved it too. I mean, there are parts of Godzilla King of the Monsters that I really loved. like especially everything with Ken Watanabe. But there are things that I didn't like the typical "this won't bring so and so back," which is one of the worst cliches in revenge stories ever. Like, well, no kidding. I'm like, well, no kidding. It won't bring him back. What do you think? I'm stupid? That's not why I'm doing this. Yeah, but regardless,
And
yeah,
how's this, Eric? He's having a conversation with his ex-wife, basically left him there to die. Do you think I'll be that calm?
Yeah.
You
honestly,
I'll be that calm talking to my ex-wife who left me to die with that monster. Do you think I'll be nice and calm? No, I mean, to me that was kind of cheesy. I mean,
the cheesiness. But again, connecting that to Justice League, where you put in all that wheat and cheese, you can almost see a pattern. But yeah, regardless, yeah. But the thing is, like, one by one, the snakes have been either fired or phased out. Like, Berg's gone, Nelson's gone, Tsujihara, like, and I loved, by the way, when Zack Snyder posted that 5 of Swords, like the Knave of Swords and all that, and that Knave of Swords, that thief was like carrying away 5 swords, and there were 2 swords left. And I was like, okay, how many snakes were there that screwed up Zack's vision? See, there's Tsujihara, Emmerich, Johns, Whedon, Berg, Nelson, and I would say Elfman might be like the 7th. And then 5 of them at the time of him posting were gone, and 2 are left, and that was Tsujihara and Emmerich. Emmerich left, and then who's left? And then it looks like his days are numbered because all of his allies are gone. Now, as far as Johns, I found it very interesting that Jeff Johns was removed from his position as head of the DCU, and we could see, like, from the reports we heard, that his power was fading during Aquaman. Like, he wanted more Black Mana, and they said no. And then, of course, James Wan recut Aquaman, apparently with Zack's advice on how to do this, which in and of itself is very interesting. But meanwhile, John's power was fading, and finally they took him away from they stripped him of his powers, head the DCU, and made him like write the script for Green Lantern Corps. But by the way, after that announcement that he was writing Green Lantern Corps, that was the last we heard about it. So I think they were just quietly phasing him away and getting rid of him.
Here's it, and I know. Listen, I know Josh Whedon gets a lot of slack, and he should, But see, I think too much people focus on Josh Whedon because this is what I told people.
When you get down to it, he was only following orders.
Yeah, and right, because if Josh Whedon would have said no, Warner Brothers would have got somebody that they would have done what they wanted. So granted, I understand why people are upset with Josh Whedon, but to me, they should focus more their anger, not more towards Josh Whedon, maybe a little bit, but it has to go with the decision making in Warner Brothers. Because again, if Josh would have said no, I'm not touching Zack movie, they would have got rid of him. They would have got somebody else. Somebody was going to do the bidding. Somebody. That's right. Somebody's not going to say no to potentially have a little say in directing Justice League. A director out there was going to say yes. Okay, so and again, the reshoots, was horrible. I didn't like it, especially Superman is my favorite character, and what they did to that character is just breaks my heart. But I see in my perfect world, this is what I would like to happen. Okay. You got Robert Pattinson doing the Batman. If you want to do that as a DC Dark, I'm all for that. Maybe down the road, once Henry does a Superman movie or comes out cameo in Supergirl or Shazam or whatever, telling us that he's still Superman, I would like Zack to come back and do Justice League 2 and 3 and finish that out. And hopefully Warner Brothers see the movie that Todd Phillips did with the Joker. Not everything has to be like Marvel, and this is what what got me so angry is that you don't beat somebody to try to beat somebody. You beat somebody being different, and they try to copy Marvel when the DC characters are not Marvel people. They're dark character. If you look at Batman, dark. If you look at even Flash, his story is kind of dark. Wonder Woman. The only one that gives you a little hope is Superman, but because obvious what it means. But hopefully the people could see, you know what, we did well with the Joker. Now we could go this route. And the one who's been championing that is Walter Hamada. If you Walter Hamada he's the one who's championing. Hey, let's be different. We don't have to be all like goofy like Marvel. So he's the one that been championing that. So and that's why you see a lot of hate right now with the Joker, with the media. I mean, isn't that something? Because to me, my opinion, they're in bed with Disney. They're in bed with Disney. I mean, first of all, the Joker. Well, he's just a white man coming out to kill people. How many movies have white man killing people and you didn't say nothing? Rambo, Commando, Predator. I mean, seriously, people.
Oh my word! And it's like,
man, you met to me. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, that gets me. I mean, it takes my heart blood pressure real high. You really gonna say that crap? A white man, okay? And how's this review? Eric? This is gonna blow your mind. Well,
this is gonna be good.
I went to see the Joker, and although Tom Phillips did very well, the movie was depressing. It was narcissist. I mean, you just described the Joker.
Yes.
Describe the Joker. The Joker is not a real clown like Ronald McDonald's that goes around make kids to laugh. The Joker is the Joker. Learn the character before you say something dumb. I'm getting pumped up here. I mean, seriously.
I mean, seriously, like, and also like this nonsense BS that they're saying, like, oh, he's an incel. Dude, he literally has sex with a girl in the movie. Or that's not an incel. I don't know what you call it, but that ain't an incel. And then there's this latest one, Time Magazine, saying that the black characters in the movie are seen, but they are not, they're there, but they're not seen. What the heck does that mean? His girlfriend is black. What are you trying to say?
I mean, it blows my mind that some of the review, that is out there that they don't understand the character because they are in bed with Disney. If you want to watch a funny comic book movie, go to Marvel. Hey, listen, although I'm a DC guy, I do like some Marvel movie, okay? And I'm going to judge it based on Marvel. But don't you dare judge DC based on Marvel. We're different. We're not the same. I mean, it just blows. It blows my mind. I mean, it just drove me crazy. And then check this out. Well, there still hasn't been. CNN's reporting there hasn't been a shootout yet, but sources told CNN that a man got arrested for eating popcorn at a Joker movie. The guy is maybe sarcastic, but bear with me. Hey, I reporting from CNN. I'm here at the Joker premiere, and a couple got arrested by eating popcorn. And you know what they did? They dropped popcorn on the floor. That's a sign. I mean, enough with this already. Enough.
Yeah. Who that reported?
Keep your mouth shut and move on.
Exactly. Who that reported that? Jim Acosta? Seriously.
Probably has to be Jim Acosta. I mean, knowing them, they're gonna blame Donald Trump for if something happened. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna get
exactly.
I'm not going there.
Look at me.
You get what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean,
I get what you mean. See it, and like this should prove to anyone.
CNN is NBC, all the media out there covering like they're hoping a shootout happened. I mean, how low can you be?
CNN is fake news. Let's just put that out there, seriously. But honestly, I'm just really ticked. And honestly, with all this talk, I'm partly. as far as like DC versus Marvel, look, again, I've used the analogy of the Cola Wars in the 80s, Pepsi and Coke. Everyone, like the media was on Pepsi's side. They're saying, oh, you should be more like Pepsi because Pepsi, look, they won the Pepsi challenge and all that stuff. Even though the Pepsi challenge is pretty edited, actually, because like Pepsi like edits in so that the only people who respond are the ones that were Coke but like Pepsi better when they take the challenge. But they edited out all the other versions where the exact opposite happened. And like, but what happened was, it like Coke broke, and they said, okay, yeah, we should be more like Pepsi, and they gave us New Coke, which is Pepsi which is Coke Pepsi, and New Coke sucks. People complain. It says, if we wanted to drink Pepsi, we would have gone drink Pepsi. We don't want Pepsi. We want Coke. Give us Coke back. So they gave us Coca-Cola Classic. They brought us Coca-Cola Classic back. And New Coke remained for a little bit as Coke 2, but that phased out. But the problem is, I like Pepsi, but I'm a Coke drinker first and foremost. If I want to drink Pepsi, I drink Pepsi. I want Coke. Give me Coke. Give me DC. Give me the DCEU. Give me Snyder. That's what I want. If I want to see a Marvel movie, I see a Marvel movie.
So hopefully, the new management saw right through the media hatred, because that's the way I look at it. I mean, seriously. I mean, what drove me crazy was the Joker is a white man killing. I mean, all the movies that has a white man killing. Okay, you never say nothing. You're gonna fuck. Why this one? Why the Joker? You know why the Joker? Because they're afraid that maybe the Joker might do something that Marvel has never done before. For all you Marvels out there, listen to me. There's one thing that Marvel has not done that the Joker has a chance to. You know what's that? Win an Academy Award. That's why they do all the negative publicity out there. Is because what the Joker is going to do, Marvel before. And you know what? I love it. Oh, I love it.
I love it. Yeah,
I love it. It's a way of the fans telling the media, screw you. We're the one. We like it, and we're running the narrative, not you. And you know what? Right. I give Robert Downey Jr. credit. I give him credit because he saw through this. He saw through this. I mean, think about this. An actor dream is to win an Academy Award. Okay? But for him to say that, because you know why Robert Downey Jr. say that? He doesn't want to win an Academy Award because people feel sorry for him or some more. He wants to win it because he deserves it, not because some people pity him. I mean, I wouldn't want to win an award like that.
Exactly. I mean, like, was he good in Endgame? Yes. Was he Oscar worthy? No. I mean, I would argue if anyone in recent years deserved Oscars for superhero films, it would be like Hugh Jackman for Logan. Patrick Stewart for Logan. I think a case could be made. Certainly Amy Adams for BVS, but then every performance she ever gives is Oscar worthy. But her Lois was great. Like in Batman v Superman is great. But seriously, but as far as and for Robert Downey Jr., like again, like and he knows it. Was he good in Endgame? Yeah. Was he Oscar worthy? Heck no. I mean, he did what he did, and he gave and there were some great moments in there, but as a performance as a whole, I mean, he did his job. It was good. But honestly, by the way, with Robert Downey Jr. done with the MCU, Chris Evans done with the MCU, and after her standalone, which is a prequel, Scarlett Johansson is going to be done with the MCU. I found myself wondering, who would I cast them as in the DCU? Now, for Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, they're probably done doing big parts, but I would cast them as smaller parts. I would cast Robert Downey Jr. as Ray Palmer, the original Atom, because Zack Snyder has Dr. Ryan Choi in the Snyder Cut, who's destined to be the Atom. But of course, Ryan Palmer is the original Atom. So I would say Robert Downey Jr. would be a perfect mentor for him.
Yes, Brian. I'm very shoddy today. If sorry if certain topic,
Yeah.
it gets
Yeah. Well,
my blood
yeah.
pressure pretty high. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a little shouty
Yeah.
and
Hey,
a
I'm,
little hyper. But it's just I bring it with this show is about bringing it with passion, and I have a lot of passion. And I want to be
exactly.
different. I want to be different from other shows. Other shows
Yeah.
are great in their own way. They're unique in their own way. I want to be me. I
Mhm.
want to be unique in my own way. I'm a New Yorker at heart. I'm originally born and raised in
Yeah.
New York, and so us New Yorkers, we tend to be a little, haughty, So I
Forget
do
about it.
apologize that, Brian.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric. I
Yeah.
apologize.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. So again, Robert Downey Jr. as Ray Palmer, maybe as a mentor figure to Dr. Choi when they do the Atom. And I would have Chris Evans, like again, as a smaller part, but not a big one. I would say, um, I would say people have suggested maybe Shining Knight might be a good role for him, or someone, yeah, or some might say I don't know. Well, whatever is good for whatever he would like. Some people have said the Phantom Stranger might be that might be interesting, or the Crimson Avenger. But as far as Scarlett Johansson, once she's done with Black Widow, she's done because the fact that they're doing a prequel as opposed to bringing her back means she's gone, which is unfortunate because what's one of my many problems with Endgame, even though I generally like Endgame, just the very end, they set up the whole idea that they're not using time travel where time is like a line. You're doing it where you're doing the branch theory, where if you change timeline, you spin off into another timeline. And yet you have Chris Evans showing up as old Cap, which kind of goes back to time as a line, which doesn't make sense. But what I would have done was, instead of old Cap coming back, it's Black Widow, Natasha coming back with the shield and explain what happened. Because when Cap, trades in, puts the Soul Stone back, what does he do? Like, you'd think he would maybe get her back, who knows? But regardless, it's not what they're doing. They're doing a prequel for Black Widow, apparently. So I guess Black Widow's done after that. So what I would do, I would cast Scarlett Johansson as Supergirl. It would be a brilliant, a glorious coup for DC to have ScarJo as Supergirl.
You see, I like Amanda better.
Yeah, Amanda.
I just
Amanda.
Seyfield.
Oh, Amanda Seyfield. Yeah, I could see that.
I like her better because she's just the blue eyes. Although Scarlett does have the eyes, but the long hair. I want somebody different, and I don't think he's gonna pay Scarlett. Because she's gonna demand more money than Amanda.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Especially if she's going to be the central role.
Right. So I don't see them doing that. They want to cast somebody like Henry Cavill, who was known but not that well known the way Ben Affleck is. So but in any event, I things are looking up for DC. I think they might have something now. J. Oliver did say that it's never been done before, and financially he's correct. Them having two Batmans, with Robert playing the younger Batman and then Ben Affleck playing the older Batman. But um, to me, why not just finish Zack Snyder Vision? You have maybe tops about 4 years with the current character. And then you want to create another universe with the Batman, the Joker, and so forth. You could do that, and then do the Justice League movie when Zack Snyder verse is done. So,
I would say, if we go by the theory that Zack's 5-part arc was going to end with Justice League 2 and then Flashpoint, that would make a lot of sense because you get the idea of Flashpoint effectively being the DCU's Days of Future Past, where Bruce, as we know, like Affleck was going to die in Justice League 2, saving Lois from Darkseid, exchanging gunfire with Darkseid. They go down Final Crisis style. And then we have Flashpoint, where and Zack Snyder would do a great Flashpoint. Of course, he set it up by casting Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne, and the comedian would be the perfect as Flashpoint Batman. But if you do Flashpoint as part 5, you have your Days of Future Past where where everything's set right. Barry comes back and Bruce Wayne is alive, but he's younger, and you could do it's Robert Pattinson and his crew have come in because like the new universe, the new DCU, they can do whatever they want, but the Snyder's arc and his vision is complete. I could see that.
Yeah, see, but to me,
that's how I feel.
right? Because if Warner Brothers and Matt Reeves intend to do a 3 Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, by the time the third Batman movie is done, Gal Gadot movie, Jason Momoa, even Ray Fisher, that Snyderverse is going to run its course. So you still what I'm hoping for,
exactly.
what I'm hoping for, they bring Zach back, let him finish his own arc, and I think most fans will get on board with Robertson Pattinson if they want to. If that's where they're gonna start, if that's when they want to start over again, you could do that. But let Zach finish his story, his arc. I think at least for me, you know, we're already gonna have Wonder Woman #2, 84. We're gonna have Aquaman #2. The Flash movie is being done right now. Then if you Ray Fisher, Cyborg, basically the Snyder Cut has a lot of Cyborg scenes in there, so it's basically a cyborg movie. And then maybe, like in 4 years, hey Ben, can you do your Batman? And then your Batman will lead into the Justice League 2 and 3, and we could close it out. See, once that goes out,
exactly.
Then the third Batman's closing out. If they want to bring a new Superman, to recast in that universe, in that universe, it's okay. We just want Henry Cavill to do another Superman because that's what he wants, and do the other, do the other Snyderverse. So what do you think, guys? Go ahead.
Yeah. What do I think? Well, I will say this. As far as Batman is concerned, Robert Pattinson is concerned, I am still not convinced that it's meant to be separate because everyone keeps pointing to Jeffrey Wright. Oh, Jeffrey Wright's been cast as Gordon. No. Jeffrey Wright has been cast as someone in Robert Pattinson's films. The whole Gordon thing is another exclusive inside scoop for unnamed reliable sources. And I don't care who you are, whether you're We Got This Covered or The Hollywood Reporter or The Wall Street Journal. I am not inclined to trust exclusive inside scoops from unnamed reliable sources. But Eric, it's The Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, the Hollywood Reporter has gotten stuff wrong before, especially about the DCU. They're the ones reporting that, what's his name? Henry Cavill is out as Superman. No, he's not. That was The Hollywood Reporter, guys. Exclusive inside scoop from unnamed reliable sources. You will forgive me if I'm not inclined to trust them that he's Gordon. Now, I don't deny that he's someone in the Pattinson, like in the Matt Reeves Batman films, Jeffrey Wright, himself was tweeting out stuff with bats. So he's in it. I'm not convinced that he's Gordon. Now, would he be a good Gordon in a version of the Batman? Absolutely he would. But I'm not convinced that he's not Harvey Bullock or Lucius Fox or whoever. Maybe Two-Face for all I care and do a reference to Billy D. Williams. But the point is, I am not inclined to believe it if it's like, I don't know who the citation is. If it's not an official announcement, there you go. That's my thing.
Yeah, and again, even if he is cast, I still think it could work if it's known. Hey, this is one universe.
Yeah. This
is another universe, which that's something that hasn't been done before. But if there's a demand for it, if a lot of people like Robert Pattinson's Batman and how he portrays it, there's nothing wrong having 2 Batmans. There's nothing wrong. Now I know what Jay Oliva said, is that the studios, is not going to put too much money paying 2 actors. But the way that they did it perfectly because you have Ben Affleck, who's an A actor, and you have Robert Pattinson, who maybe for the first 2 Batman they don't have to pay much. So it still could be done. It still could be done.
Yeah, and I've pointed out that Robert Pattinson looks enough like a young Ben Affleck to be passable.
Oh yeah.
So could work. It could work either way. This was the first indication that it might be something separate. The idea of Jeffrey Wright maybe, possibly, potentially being Jim Gordon. Like everything else up to this point, like the notion that it's set in the 90s sets up the idea that it's a prequel trilogy for Batfleck. But if it isn't, it isn't, and it's a separate universe, and I can live with that, especially because of the great precedent set by this Joker film that you can do Elseworlds, you can do separate timelines, and the audience is not going to be confused. Just say it's an Elseworlds, it's a different Earth. Like the Snyderverse could be Earth 1 and the Pattinsonverse could be Earth 2, or what have you.
How's this? This idea just came to my mind as we were talking. After Wonder Woman, 84, okay. Maybe you could finish. You know how Netflix they have series. Well, now maybe HBO Max, what they could do. Hey Zach, come back, make the movies for us. That is strictly for the HBO Max streaming. He could finish his arc, and then if you want to start a new universe in cinema, you could do it with Robert Pattinson. So therefore, it's cost effective for Warner Brothers. Hey, Zach, come in, finish your arc. It's going to be part of the HBO Max. It's going to be part of the HBO Dark. Finish that, and after Wonder Woman comes out, Aquaman 2 will come out in HBO Max. Flash in HBO Max. All that will be something like a Netflix. And then you want to put on the cinema, then you could do with the Robert Pattinson, like the Joker. What do you think?
Yeah, that would be very interesting. I mean, ideally, I would want to see it on the big screen. But hey, if you were to say a limited screening, like a week-long screening of Justice League 2, but then it's on HBO Max, I could see that because Netflix does that is going to do that with The Irishman, like limited, like a screening Scorsese's film in theaters, and then you see it on Netflix. I could see that. And I love the idea of HBO Max being the domain of Snyder's DCEU. And then, the theaters will be like whatever they want. Although personally, I could see, both working, like JJ doing a Man of Steel 2, but it's got to be being big screen, even though JJ's done some great TV stuff. Of course, that's what he's known for, Alias and Lost. But whichever works would be great. I mean, I would say there are a lot of stories to tell in the DCU that are more suited for a series length or miniseries length than for movies. Like I have been pitching, and cue the eye rolling, but I have been pitching, it would be great to do a Lois Lane series, but be like a noir, a noir kind of thing in the world of investigating stuff. I could see a Question series. And I know exactly who I would cast as the Question. I've said this a lot. Ryan Gosling as the Question. And with Mary Elizabeth Winstead cast as the Huntress for the DCU, it would be nice to see like her interacting with Ryan Gosling's Question. That would be cool. And as far as I could see that. And as far as putting Justice League 2 and Flashpoint, like the remainder of Zach's arc on HBO Max, that is I brought this up elsewhere, but if you think about it, there's a little bit of a pattern with the length of Zach's DCU films. Man of Steel 2 was 2.5 hours. Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition is 3 hours. The Snyder Cut, 214, 3.5 hours. Where does the pattern lead to? It leads to Justice League 2 being 4 hours and Part 5, whether it's Flashpoint or not, being 4.5 hours. That's pretty long. Now, for a movie, Justice League 2 being 4 hours, well, that's intermission length, but it's almost like it would be that would be better suited for an HBO Max miniseries, wouldn't it? Especially, and then Flashpoint being 4.5 hours. Yep, you got a miniseries right there. And yes, Jake Wilson, I have no shame whatsoever. I want more Amy Adams. The more Amy, the better. I want Enchanted 2. I want everything. I want her to be in as many musicals as possible. And she wants musicals. She could sing. She could dance.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Amy Adams' biggest fan here in Florida, Mr. Eric.
I would say second biggest fan, because the man who holds her heart is a lucky fellow indeed. So there you go. Oh. Second biggest. Yeah. But regardless, again, yes, I want Amy Adams miniseries, but you know, a 4-hour Justice League 2, which makes sense because he's doing a Preventing of Injustice, the Nightmare stuff, and Final Crisis, all of that in one movie. That's got to be 4 hours.
Well, if you look, if you look at the Marvel Infinity War and Endgame, that will start as one. So if you put that together, that's about almost 6 hours, at 2.5, 3 hours. Yes, it's about 5.5 hours. So I think if they was to do the Justice League 2 and 3 being 4.5 hours, I think if they put it, you see, in business you have to be risk takers. And again, guys, I'm not gonna talk about politics, but I hope you guys grasp what I'm about to say. A lot of people always point about the 6 bankruptcy that Donald Trump have, which is true. He does have 6 bankruptcy, but they don't talk about the 550 business that he started up. So so it's how you look at it. In life, you gotta take chances, and you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. The people that don't take chances are the people that are always stuck in the same position. People that take chances and keep on and keep on pushing until the wall comes down are people like those business people. So to me, it will be and I said it earlier on, no one has ever done that before. So if someone from Warner Brothers is watching this, I dare you and be different. Let Zach finish his vision and put it out an HBO Max. Make it a mini series. When I mean mini series, you could be like a 5-part, 6-part, 7-part series with Aquaman 2. If you want to do a Last Wonder Woman #3, not a problem. Or you want to do the Henry Cavill Superman, do that, and then you finish it out with Justice League 3 with Darkseid. I mean that because HBO Max Dark is for adults. And you're gonna get a lot of people who's gonna be interested in that. Do a survey, do a feeler, do like a study hall. There's many of us that would love to see that. I mean, it's like going to a buffet. When I go to a buffet, why do I go to a buffet? Because I like the variety. I like that it has everything. That's how you gotta look at it.
Yes, and by the way, speaking of HBO, guess who has a producer deal with HBO? Amy Adams. Ever since Sharp Objects, because Sharp Objects did so well, they signed a deal with her that she can produce shows on HBO. So in other words, I could easily see a DCU on HBO Max being run by Zach, by Amy, and by Ben Affleck. I could see that.
Right. Now let me address because there's a lot. I love the interaction in the chat. Integrity 101. When I say mini series, I'm not referring to like a regular mini series. Like how mini series are 1 hour time later. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about its own universe. Like we know it's an 8-part. Like 8-part. Let's say 8-arc movies. Okay, within that verse, you put that on HBO. We already have Man of Steel. We already have Batman versus Superman. We're gonna have the Justice League. That's probably gonna be on HBO Max. Then you could do Wonder Woman #3. Put that on HBO Max as part of Snyderverse. When I mean miniseries, I'm talking about Snyderverse. What Zack Snyder started, and let him finish that. And you could put that on HBO Max and focus on that. A lot of people, like something similar to like Games of Thrones. But there's not a like an hour movie. It could be 2 hours. It could be 2.5 hour movie, something like that.
Yes, and you brought up Game of Thrones, and that's perfect because Game of Thrones has shown just how cinematic an HBO series can actually be because it is so epic and so grand scale, and yet you see it on the quote-unquote small screen. But nowadays, most people are having bigger and bigger screens, so add that, maybe a sound, maybe a good surround sound system. You've got a movie theater right there, a home theater.
Right.
And it's perfect. Exactly what Zack Snyder's planning.
And it is going to be filmed. What I'm saying, Integrity 101, it's actually a film. It's a film. But again, this has not been done before. So this is something. If I Warner Brothers, I mean,
Yes.
you want to separate yourself from the Disney channel, from the Disney app. You want to be different. You want people to have options. So if you're gonna be like Disney, you can never beat Disney. You will never beat Disney. We will never beat Disney. So stop being Disney. Be different. And if you're different, you're gonna have people who's gonna have Disney because they have kids. Then you're gonna have people who's gonna have HBO Max because they don't have kids, or you're gonna have families that's gonna have both. When they sit down watching with family time, it's gonna be Disney, and then when it's the adults, they're gonna watch HBO Max. You want to give people that option, so it could work. And chances are nobody's one of the brothers is not gonna be listening. But if somebody knows somebody, make this pitch to them. HBO Max. Let Zack Snyder come in, cause hey Zack, because he's already doing Army of the Dead. He's already doing that for Netflix.
Yeah, he's doing Netflix. He's doing that with that Norse Gods show with Louis Centeno. He's doing that Norse. You wish, but he's doing that Norse Gods show with Jay Oliver. It's epic. There's a lot of hope for like what's going on. He's establishing his brand, and as far as let's see, what was I? As far as this HBO Max thing and about risk taking. I mean, it really goes to show the very fact that we have an HBO Max as opposed to just HBO. That's we have Ann Sarnoff really rolling the dice because it really shows a great contrast between her and Sujihara. Sujihara was a play it safe. He was a bean counter. He was quick buck, easy buck. Ann Sarnoff is a risk taker, and she's proven it by establishing this HBO Max. By the way, if you're you're wondering about the Norse Gods show, basically, Zack Snyder and Jay Oliver are spearheading this Norse Gods, and this anime type animated show, but it's about the Norse gods, Thor, Odin, Loki, Freya, and all that. And it will be very interesting once they set that up. Who are they going to have as voicing these characters? I mean, like they have to have people with great voices. So I would like to see who he has in mind to get cast.
How's this, Eric? Warner Brothers, HBO Max, they could bring in Jay Oliva to do adult animation for HBO Max.
Yeah, absolutely.
Darn
right.
So it's I mean, how is it that I don't have a degree in Harvard or in Yale, and I'm just thinking common sense, and all these people that have all these education cannot think of these stuff. I mean that it's just the one thing that a degree cannot teach is a person being creative. That's what you want. You want a person. That's why I like Zack Snyder, because he's a creator in his mind. He knows how to create. He knows how to bring character into life. That's what kind of people we want. And like you said, Ann Sarnoff is that type of person. She's a risk taker, and she looks like a type of person. All right, let me take a risk here. What happens? It don't work. Okay, if it doesn't work, then we'll try something else. I mean, that's the way how life is. You have to be willing to be a risk taker. If I own a company, Eric, if you own a company, would you rather hire a risk taker or a status quo person?
I got you. Probably risk taking, because especially if we're little, we need to get our name out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, we're about to wrap it up. Do you have any questions for us? We're not taking questions.
All right.
Let me go back from the beginning here.
Send your questions.
My team, the Mets, go Yankees. No, I'm not a Yankee fan. Let me see here. So is the plan? So let's start with Frank. Okay, I'm gonna start with Frank. So is the plan for the Snyder Cut to be on HBO Max still on track, or is there a shift happening? Where there's smoke, there's fire. When you hear people who are connected to the industry, like Mark Hughes, like Paul Shuri, people who are connected in the industry keep bringing up HBO Max. You know, we could say for the on the very least that is being discussed. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for sure.
And when it's going to open, like when HBO Max is going to open and be unlocked, apparently it kind of coincides with when DC All Access is going to be shutting down. It's almost like it's going to swallow it up, like merge it into it. And I could see, I could see like the DC stuff in general being like a whole section of HBO Max. But yeah, it is too much for coincidence. Yeah, I really think. Yeah, I really think that there's some fire there.
Yeah. Tony asks at Louis Centeno show. I believe Henry Cavill is still under contract with Warner Brothers. Correct. Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
last year when the Hollywood Reporter put out that Henry was gone as Superman, Henry Cavill agent rebutted that. She said no, he's not. He's basically still have the cape in the closet. Basically, what she's told us is that he is waiting. Then Warner Brother put out a statement that they still have a working relationship with Henry. So that tells you something right there. So yeah. So
Yeah.
Henry just couldn't just wait for work. He needed to work. But
Yeah, he's
he's
on Wisher again.
if you follow Henry Cavill on his Instagram, he gives a lot of clues. Superman. He definitely wants to be Superman. He's just being very
Yeah.
coy. He's being very coy. So and then Eric, you mentioned basically what I said that the 170 is built for the theatrical version, which Zach
Yeah.
last year. The 214 is built
Yes.
for media.
Yeah. And if I could build on that, actually, like this is, if I may bring up, this is a Lord of the Rings scenario. This is how I see it, where the theatrical cut is shorter, but what it is it is the best version to watch if this is the first time you saw it. Where like if I extended versions of Lord of the Rings first. Like I saw the extended cut Fellowship of the Ring first, and I was a little bored. I was a little restless. Like, where is this going? When is this going to get somewhere? But the reason is the theatrical cut is cut for your first viewing. It's meant to be taut and lean and grip you to the end, where you don't feel restless because it's moving forward. The extended cuts are what you see after that. Now that you know how it's going to end, where it's going, you can relax a bit more and you can hang out with the characters more and you can absorb this universe more. And scenario, that's what the 170 versus the 214 is going to be, where the 170 is ideal for your first viewing, and after that you watch the 214 and that's it. Now, as far as if we could go back a little bit to the previous question about Henry Cavill's contract, I find that interesting that his old contract, he has one role left in his old contract, and apparently that was supposed to be Shazam, but that obviously didn't work out. It would be cool to bring him in, but let's say there's that. I remember, like you said, like one of your early scoops was that Henry Cavill has a new contract, a new 4-film contract. Now, if we say that does not include, if that does not include the 5th film in his old contract, then that means he's got 5 films left on the radar, on the docket. So what do we have there? We have A Man of Steel 2, we have Justice League 2, we have Supergirl, and we have 2 more films there. Well, I would say ideally those 2 films would be Shazam 2, like do what they want to do and bring in Clark Kent, and Shazam 3, Shazam Superman, The Return of Black Adam, because that is one thing that I want so much, to have Henry Cavill as Superman, like as a mentor figure to Billy. Clark as a mentor figure, basically a father figure to Billy, as they join together and fight Teth. And I've said this on a couple of shows, really. I said it on Chris Wong Swenson's show, and I said it on Lantern's show. But what I would want to do with Shazam 3, Shazam Superman, The Return of Black Adam, is the idea that in the first act fight is between Shazam and Black Adam, and it ends with his foster parents, the Vasquezes, being caught in the crossfire and dead. So Clark takes him in. So Clark essentially takes him in. You know, the kids they're taken in by Uncle Billy in the comics, but you have but Clark basically feels responsible, and he takes Billy under his wing, and he and Lois basically help interact with him and help him out. And I could see. I would love to see like Amy, like because Amy is a mom. It would be great to see her as a mother figure to Billy and to the other kids, and it would culminate in the third act fight with the three of them against Black Adam, and then it would end with Lois and Clark formally adopting Billy. And as for the other kids, they would be like with Martha on the Kent farm, helping her out because like she would love to have that. And
That's some storytelling right there, man. You have to have a good director for that one. That's the kind
absolutely. Yeah, darn right.
Eric, you mentioned that Zach is a listed producer for the Suicide Squad. Yeah, I saw that. It was very interesting.
Yes.
And James Gunn,
yes,
Snyder, it's true. Tony, the Yankees 28 World Series. No, they're not going to win this year. Sorry, Tony. I already answered that question? Do you think we get Man of Steel before Supergirl? I would say Supergirl is going to come first because at least Supergirl is being discussed. And I think it's the script is being created right now. But again, to me, I don't care if it's before, after. Yeah. I just want Henry Cavill Superman.
Well, like I said, watch what happens when the Star Wars 9 publicity tour is over. Because I suspect I would not put it past JJ, who is known for secrecy on his projects until the time is right. I would not put it past JJ to have had Chris Terrio start writing Man of Steel 2 right after he was done writing Star Wars 9. And then when the publicity tour is over, do not be surprised if they announce that Man of Steel 2 has been greenlit and they're going to start shooting right away.
Listen, hopefully that's true, and I will go even further. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris already have a Superman script. You just never know.
Yeah, exactly. Terrio has his script written out.
Right. Integrity wants Snyder fans get Snyderverse. Snyder haters get Reeves verse, which will open a bat only universe at least to Nightwing. Yeah, that's not bad. Let me see here. I'm trying to get people to push that idea. It is 21st century. We can have our overlapping Batman for a film. Ben will return if they let him do the dark story. See, if you notice, in December, if those of you want to check out my tweet, Ben was willing to compromise. He was willing to say, "Hey guys, I'll do your solo Batman movie. Let's do Justice League 2." Because he wanted, he signed on for Zack's vision. That's what he signed on for. He didn't sign on. He honestly didn't even sign on for a solo movie. He signed on to do Zack's version, but being that everybody gave, most of everybody liked his version of Batman, he was willing to do a standalone Batman movie. And J.L. Lever said he saw the script, and J.L. Lever said it was the best script he's ever seen in his life. I mean, for J.L. Lever to say that, oh my gosh. So, this guy that played James Bond 007. How many times have he's done? He's done with the 007. Has come back for more. So. I believe if Anselm sits down with Ben and say, "Hey Ben, I have a director for you, along with J.J. Abrams. I saw your script. Let's do that Batman. Here's the finish line. We're gonna do Justice League 2 and 3 to close it out." I believe Ben would consider, because Ben, after he went on Jimmy Fallon, which people said that he said he's no longer the Batman, but if you look at it, it was more like, "I'm no longer the Batman." More like a question. He said in March in a video that he would consider doing a DC movie, directing a DC movie. And if I'm Warner Brothers, I would say, okay, you want to direct Justice League 2? Give us that Batman. But again, you never know. Never say never. Everybody, all the people say don't believe scoopers, believe the trades. Well, the Variety said that Ben Affleck is going to be doing Justice League 2. So if you're going to go by them, that's what was on Variety, that he was going to do Justice League 2. So I would not totally close that out. Obviously, it has to do with money, and if it makes sense, I would not close the door on Ben Affleck totally. I will not do that. Jake Wilson said he loves Batfleck. To be honest, when he was first announced, I didn't like it. He won me over because he did a great Batman. Let me see. Integrity 101. We have two different versions for the two fan bases, aiming down for the middle. Please, everyone will not work. Big audience will dark, serious, see Joker. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, John says all of them are complaining about these things that are vocal minority. The good thing is that they are minority. The bad thing is that they are very local or vocal,
Yeah.
which is true. Uh, our former CIA director hired skates. Okay, I'm not gonna talk politics, guys.
Oh boy. Yeah. Regardless, but I will say this about the whole Trump thing. It's very funny how Trump's Secretary of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, look at the credits of Batman v Superman. He's an executive producer of Batman v Superman. He's also an executive producer of Wonder Woman. Steve Mnuchin. He was the Treasury Secretary. Trump's Treasury Secretary was an executive producer of BVS and Wonder Woman. Just saying.
Right, I saw that. Brian Scully said, "Very shouty." Yes, I was very shouty. Frank in
Yeah.
the fandom. Eric Shameless. Amy Adams plug.
No shame
uh,
whatsoever.
yeah. Jake Wilson spot on. Eric. Blake had to throw Amy Adams in there. You sly dog or slick dog. uh, John, the best part of Endgame was the first cat, where it was dark and mature, and the stakes were real.
Yeah, first thing.
Miss Integrity 101, perfect timing to bring Zach. Marvel has been getting worse and worse. Iron Man was fantastic. Yeah, I did. I like Iron Man 1. I did like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You can be objective where Amy Adams is concerned, Eric. Brian said that, which I
Okay. Let me just say this.
he's
I
right.
do not I do not praise her performances because I love her. I love her because she's the best at one of the best I've ever seen at what she does. And what she does, I like. So there you go.
Yeah, I see that because I like Salma Hayek too. I mean, I love Salma Hayek, but but then again, who
Yeah, who
doesn't?
doesn't?
Uh,
Yeah.
Frank in the Endgame. After Endgame, CMB fans are in drought of good comic book content. Bringing back Zach will be such a great move. Uh, after the Joker did well, everything to me is in play. Everything to me is in play. Uh, Jake Wilson said, yeah, he likes Amanda better. I did a poll on that. Amanda won by a landslide.
Yeah.
The Supergirl. I think she'd be the best Supergirl. Um, I mean, she just have to, she has the height, the body, she has the hair, the beautiful smile, she has the eyes. That's just my opinion. But I'm
Yeah.
not gonna go into Amy Adam territory with how you have it, Eric.
Go ahead, man. We're among friends.
Technically, there's two Batman now with Patterson and Ian Glenn in the DCU Titan show. That's true too. Um,
Yep.
Matt Reeves should have nothing to do with Snyderverse. See, I kind of disagree with that Integrity 101. See, I believe that you could tell Matt Reeves, hey, Matt Reeves, do your own Batman, but we still gonna connect it to the DCU. But you could tell the story however you want. You want to, whatever story you want to tell, we won't touch it. You do it. It still could work. To me, it still could work. But I don't. From what I'm hearing, Eric, I don't think it's connected. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and I will say this. I will say this about Ian Glenn, like on the Titans show. Like someone brought this up, and I really see it. He's essentially the Adam West Batman taken seriously. Like he's more chill, more relaxed, more like happy, if you will. And but at the same time, he's not goofy, he's not campy. That's how like the Batman on Titan series comes off as the Bruce, anyway. When you finally see him.
AJ will work with Reeves. They both basically created Cloverfield universe, which is true. If the 3 hour Batman versus Superman was released in theaters, it's $1 billion film. I agree with that. If the Ultimate Edition of Batman versus Superman would have been released in theaters, I think they would have made $1 billion. Even though it did make $1 billion, if you count the DVD sales and the Blu-ray, it grossed over $1 billion. Um, what if
Yeah.
JL 2 or 3 become a TV series on HBO Max? I kind of hinted that, Frank. I said that early on. Snyder Cut movement must continue to push for Zack's return for his Superman arc.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't mind that neither. Um, Mini series. Let me see. Man, getting Cavill, Affleck, Godot, Miller, Momoa, Fisher for jail XP Max would be mind blowing. I agree. It would.
Yes, it would.
It will be. So, guys, we're gonna be almost wrapping it up.
I
Uh,
mean, there's a few questions. There are a few questions at the very end that I want to address, though.
okay.
Um, at the very end, like it says, do you think we'll have a Green Lantern in the Snyder DCU with Henry Gal, Jason Ezra, and Ray? Well, again, it's very interesting that the original plan was David Goyer was going to be writing the Green Lantern Corps script, but then, of course, they give it to Jeff Johns, but that was the last we heard of it. I think he's phased out. I had this thought, like in my perfect vision is Zack Snyder doing Justice League 2, J.J. Abrams doing the Man of Steel films, and Chris McQuarrie doing Green Lantern Corps. And this is why. Chris McQuarrie and Tom Cruise, they're doing the next two Mission Impossible films back to back, almost as if they're doing a two-part grand finale to the franchise. And why would they do that unless they're going to move on to something else? So my theory is give Chris McQuarrie Green Lantern Corps with Tom Cruise as Hal Jordan. Because the original plan was to have an older Hal Jordan as the veteran who's mentoring Jon Stewart. So who better to do Hal Jordan than Maverick? To watch Top Gun, he essentially is Hal Jordan in that film. And we see Top Gun Maverick with him older, but he's still an awesome, badass like fighter pilot. There's your Hal Jordan for you.
I was initially against Tom Cruise doing Green Lantern, but the more I think about it, the more it makes sense.
Yep, exactly.
The more because he is. I didn't like him as an actor. I liked it, Jerry Maguire. And I didn't, and his movies just didn't call my attention. Now the last Mission Impossible he did, it was good. I gotta give him credit. So, so do you think we will have a Green Lantern in the Snyder DCU with Henry Cavill? You already asked that. If they go that route, they bring Zack Snyder back. The Green Lantern is in the cut, the Snyder cut. So that answers your question right there.
Tomarain Kilowog.
And then Integrity says the release of Snyder Cut movie needs to ramp up the pressure for Justice League Snyder Cut gets released. Not give up. Ben Zach return to close out. Well, see, that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm praying for. But I want once this campaign is over, guys. I want us then to focus on Henry Cavill. Let's bring it home. Let's let Warner Brothers know that we want Henry Cavill back as our Superman. So, guys, I want to thank Eric Blake for joining me. I really appreciate you giving me your insight. Guys, if you could do me a favor, if you could subscribe to my channel, The Louis Centeno Show, I really appreciate it. I'm working on something special. I'm going to try to get a hold of Ali Brooks. She's that. I'm not sure if you guys started her YouTube channel, Super Hive. She's the one that did the Justice League trailer when and her adorable son, they saw it together. You gotta watch it. It's he's adorable. So I'm working on that. I have some a surprise guest hopefully in November. And I'm probably gonna do on November 16th, the day before Justice League was released. So I'm working on someone to come on that show. So guys, again, please subscribe to my channel, the Louis Centeno Show. Eric, thank you so much for joining me. And
Thanks for having me on.
when the Snyder Cut is released, we're gonna have a round table. It's gonna call a celebration.
Oh yes.
All the people who was and I know there's many of us, but I only could have six because I think that's what the StreamYard will only allow me to have six. So Chris already said yes. Zach Ryder already said yes. I believe you. I know you're gonna join me, Eric. So that's three. I'm gonna be four. So maybe two more. I'm really, man. My dream, besides Henry Cavill, Zack Snyder, the one that I really want to have on my show is Fiona. I would love to have her on my show because she is the queen, and there is no movie without her. And when the Snyder Cut is released, everyone needs to acknowledge her. Everyone
Darn right.
needs to acknowledge her, and those who don't give her credit are just fools. And they were not paying attention. So, guys,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Until the next time, okay?
Take it easy.
All right.
Release the Snyder cut.
Release the Snyder Cut, yes.
Day is full.